So how does someone go from being completely broke, arrested multiple times, to becoming a self-made millionaire? And what if I told you it wasn't luck? Not at all. What if it was a series of deliberate, almost brutal habits that anyone could learn? Okay, let's dive into the story of Layla Holmozy and the 6 habits that completely rewired her entire life. So this is where our story kicks off. Picture this. At 19 years old, Layla Hormozi was, to put it in her own words, totally lost. She was flat broke, she'd been arrested 6 different times. It's a real rock bottom, a place that a lot of people can unfortunately understand, which is exactly what makes what happened next so incredible.
Because get this, just 4 years later, by the time she was 23, she was a self-made millionaire. So the question is obvious, right? How? How does it change that huge happen that fast? Well, it all came down to mastering 6 specific habits, starting with the one that's the foundation for everything else.
Okay, habit number 1 is all about delaying gratification. It's that constant battle between what you want right now and what you want most. And honestly, there's no better way to think about this than the famous marshmallow test. Now, what's so fascinating here is just how well this simple choice predicted the future. Researchers gave kids a choice. You can have 1 marshmallow right now, or if you can just wait 15 minutes, you get 2. Years later, they followed up, and the kids who waited for that second marshmallow, they had higher SAT scores, better careers, and way higher incomes. The big takeaway is this: your ability to invest in your future self over your present self is probably the single biggest predictor of your success.
That flows perfectly into habit number 2, which is you've got to track every single dollar. Because the biggest threat to your wealth isn't how much you make, it's whether or not you're willing to actually face the numbers.
Psychology actually has a name for this. It's called the ostrich effect. It's that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the credit card bill shows up, that conscious choice to not check your bank account because you're scared of what you'll see. But here's the thing, avoiding reality doesn't change it. It just makes the problem worse every single time.
And this number, wow, this shows you just how common this is. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And Hormozy's big insight here is that this isn't just about income, it's an avoidance issue. If you don't track your money, getting more money just means you'll spend more. Gaining control only starts when you have the courage to actually look.
And this brings us to what might be the biggest mindset shift of them all. Habit number 3, taking radical, total responsibility. This is the moment you stop being a victim, where life just happens to you, and you become a victor, the one who makes life happen. No more excuses, ever.
This idea is called your locus of control. If it's external, you believe your life is run by outside forces, your boss, the economy, your childhood. But if it's internal, you believe that you are the one behind the wheel. And the insight here is huge. Blaming other people gives you an excuse, sure, but only ownership gives you power. If you're not responsible for it, you have no power to change it. And let's be completely honest with each other. This right here, this is the great filter. Mastering these first 3 habits, choosing the future, facing the numbers, and taking complete ownership, this is the mountain where most people just turn around and go home. If you can get these right, everything else suddenly becomes possible. All right, moving on to habit number 4, eat the frog. See, our brains are basically hardwired to be lazy. They want to save energy and avoid anything difficult. High performers get this. They don't have some secret superpower of willpower. They just have a better strategy. They tackle the hardest, most important thing first.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Your frog is that one task you're dreading, the one you keep pushing off. By doing it first thing in the morning, when your energy is at its peak, you swap a full day of dread for a full day of momentum. It is a total game changer.
Okay, habit number 5 forces you to make a really critical choice about your money. You can either use it to signal wealth, to buy stuff that makes you look rich, or you can use it to actually build wealth. People who stay broke mix these two up all the time. So let's just break this down. Signaling wealth is buying status symbols. The fancy car, the designer watch, these are depreciating assets. They lose value the second you own them. On the other hand, building wealth is investing in things like skills, knowledge, and systems that actually grow over time. They are appreciating assets. One gets you external validation, the other builds real internal confidence and capability. And that leads us to the final and maybe the most powerful habit of them all. You have to embrace discomfort. That feeling of resistance you get, that tough conversation you keep avoiding, that skill that feels way too hard to learn, that's not a stop sign. It's a compass. It is pointing you directly to where your growth is hiding.
So how do you actually do it? Well, you manufacture your own growth. You start to reframe stress as the feeling of you getting stronger. You audit your environment. Hey, if you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to find a new room. You intentionally put yourself in situations where you feel like you're in over your head. You just get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that is the only place where true growth can ever happen. So, when you boil it all down, here's the bottom line. Wealth is not an accident. It's not something you wish for, and it's not something that just happens to you. It is built. It is the direct result of daily habits that trade what feels easy right now for what truly matters in the long run.
Look, this isn't an easy path, but it is a clear one. When you look at these 6 habits, from choosing that second marshmallow to learning to love discomfort, it leaves you with a really simple but really important question. Which one are you going to start today?